Welcome to the Rocky Mount Area Chamber's weekly update, and our first guest we're happy to welcome today is Theresas Background, who is the president of our chamber. Welcome, Teresa.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, thank you. And we're going to enjoy getting to know you and talking about your short-term and long-term goals and just really get excited about the chamber. And speaking of that, there are lots of great things going on in our chamber. This show is brought to you proudly by Roger G. Taylor and Associates, and we're going to share with you a lot of the wonderful things that our chamber is doing for its members and for the community at large. And let's take a look at some of the recent events in which the chamber's been involved right now.
And that is that there are people, many of you here today and the folks on the stage, that are working on issues in this community, trying to make Rocky Mount a better place to live, work, and call home. The first one is called absolute responsibility, and I am a firm believer in absolute responsibility. Not only as an individual, but as a community, we all have to take responsibility. Rocky Mount has plenty to be happy about. I know there may be a lot wrong, but if we change our defeatist attitude to a winner's attitude, many will be empowered to work harder for our town. I believe in Rocky Mount.
There's no way that we can function as an island amongst ourselves, and it takes partners to make things happen. And there's a lot of good things that are going on in Edgecombe County. And
we were successful in kind of oversizing the spine of our system, going down the major corridors, and it should prove to be a good assist on the economic development in the more rural parts of Nash County. So we are excited about that project as well as the many other things that we have going on in Nash County. And
this is what the giant mud hole that sits in front of the Nash healthcare system right now will end up being, we hope and pray, probably in January of 2014. It focuses on two service lines. One is totally replacing the existing emergency room. Right now we have 36 treatment areas available in our emergency room. When we finish this project, we will have 54 treatment rooms. The other endeavor that we're working on is residency training for physicians that have completed medical school and have decided what specialty they want to go into. And so they are trained in that. Again, we're working with the Brody School of Medicine, where we expect that we will be a part of their rotational service. In other words,
we have interns who come through Boyce Willis and are trained, and then later become employees of Boyce Willis Clinic. So there's a tight partnership between us and education. So you can see, despite the national and local healthcare challenges, we are not just reacting to these challenges, but embracing them and hopefully improving the quality of care within Nash and Edgecombe counties.
Everybody is competing for the same things we want. Other communities want the jobs we now have, and our communities and our companies are getting bombarded every day by other communities kind of like us saying, gee, move here. I want to say right now we have more client activity, I would say, than in the past 5 years. And that's very, very positive news for us because, once again,
your chamber is here to promote economic development, and we do that through all the reasons you've seen up here today, through education, through advocacy of our legislation, as Dee has so well stated earlier. And he's also stated that we get involved when we need to, and we make you aware, our membership in the community, when we need to, such as through our survey through the I-95. And also recently we did have a resolution. Your board of directors 100% supported the Nash Community College bond referendum, and we've done other things
As you can tell, we've got a lot of great things going on in our community, and Teresa, one of those is that we've been welcoming you in the last couple of weeks. So glad you moved to Rocky Mount and joined our chamber. And are heading it up as our president.
Thank you. I appreciate being considered one of those great things.
Well, good. Well, you are, and I've seen you at the membership campaign, and I've seen you at the State of the Community, and so you hit the ground running when you got here.
Yes.
For those who might not have heard about your background or read about it in the paper or whatnot, give us a little bit of your background, where you grew up and how you got into chamber work.
Sure. It's a funny story, actually, but I'm a military brat, what's known as a military brat, so I've lived all over. And had that gypsy blood in me. But in 8th grade, I did a civics paper, and I proudly came home with a paper on my local Chamber of Commerce. And I told my parents that I want to work for the Chamber of Commerce. And my parents, yeah, eventually that'll be fine, okay, and they didn't pay any attention to it. And it just stuck in my head. I really liked what the president of that small little chamber talked about, and how they were involved in the community. And not realizing it, after I graduated from college, I entered a blind ad, and it was for our National Association for Chambers of Commerce. So I just took it as fate.
That's pretty precocious for in the 8th grade. I mean, I wanted to grow up. I mean, I don't even know that I even knew had anything, but so that really shows that early on it was implanted in your DNA that was what you were supposed to do. Have you, throughout your career since you started employment, been with chambers, or have you done other things?
I took a 5-year stint off of chamber work when I was in Youngstown, Ohio, and I worked for a steel manufacturing company. And I did their human resources and benefits. But they were very active in the local chamber. And as things changed in the steel industry, they relocated. I answered a blind ad, and it happened to be for the Youngstown-Warren Regional Chamber of Commerce. So I kept seeming to end up at the doorstep of a Chamber of Commerce, so I finally said that's it, that's what I'm going to do. And it really is my passion, and I enjoy it. That's really important to me. I come in every day. I enjoy what I do every day.
Great.
I love working for the communities and for the businesses and members, so I think that's what makes it all worthwhile. So now I'm coming up on 20 years working in chamber business.
Well, and you work with primarily volunteers. There's your staff, of which you're the president, but it's so important as a volunteer throughout the years for the chamber to have someone who loves what they're doing, who can motivate volunteers, because volunteers are just what they sound like. They're giving of their personal time to help, and to have a leader and somebody who can really get us excited and focused and whatnot it's great that you like doing that.
There's a certain skill set that is required, and people have to understand it is, other than the 5-6 staff that we have here that are paid staff, everyone else is giving their time. So whether or not they're a member of the chamber, which means they're making an investment in our organization, or not, they are giving of their time. So, you know, we have board members, and they're not paid. We have ambassadors, and they're not paid for their time for all the work that they do for us. So we have people like yourselves that are not paid to do these things. So it's a great commitment on their time outside of their business lives, their personal lives. So we respect it greatly that they're taking from either their business or their personal time to do these things for us.
Teresa, I hope that you have gotten the sense that this is a community that's very passionate about Rocky Mountain, about our community, and we all are invested in you, and we want things to be really, really good. We really want you to help us be all that we can be, and I'd be interested, having been here a couple of weeks, what have you seen so far what's kind of your state of the community right now? And I know you addressed it the other day, but tell us kind of what you're observing, and then we're going to get into your short-term and long-term goals.
Sure. Well, one of the first things that impressed me was this sense of community. There is a real sense of community, and people in their everyday lives feel vested in Rocky Mountain. I would not have come if that sense of commitment and passion was not here. I'm very lucky. I have an opportunity to select where I go. So I took that seriously, and I evaluated it, and I had questions, and it seemed to be a good match. It was the right time for me to make a move, and it was the right time for Rocky Mount to look for somebody with my particular skill set.
And let me jump in right here, because you have had tremendous success, and I want everybody to know that, because I'm really proud that we had a national search, and I'm glad that you have North Carolina ties, so you know a little bit about what our state is like and the people in our state are like, but you've had tremendous success in your previous chambers, haven't you?
Yes. Last year, our chamber in Laurinburg was a national 2011 Chamber of the Year. So we were only one of 3 and the only one for our size that was selected as a Chamber of the Year. So we are recognized as being progressive, and I'd love to bring that here. I think that the opportunity is present. We can do this. We can set ourselves apart. We can start setting the benchmarks and the expectations for other chambers to say that is what we need to strive to be. And that then goes out into the community, and everyone that lives here can start setting benchmarks and saying, you know, for other communities and other towns across North Carolina, then we need to be like them, and we can set the standards and expectations.
I have to tell you, the recent membership campaign drive, a lot of what we were cheering and were saying was, we've got Teresa Pinto, a new president, and we want to show her a lot of the enthusiasm and to honor you as a new person coming to show that we could exceed goals. And we did indeed exceed goals of new members.
Blew it away.
For that, we did.
It was phenomenal. The power and the energy in the room was very positive, but the message that I got out of it, for me, was very clear. The community is looking to the chamber and has high expectations, and they're saying we're going to invest, so we're going to give our money, and we're going to give you another shot at this to get it right. So I made that very clear to the volunteers and the staff and the board. I got the message. It was loud and clear to me.
Good.
And we will not fail. I do not fail. I have high expectations of myself and the staff and our volunteers, and the community deserves it. They deserve a progressive, innovative, nationally recognized, effective, efficient Chamber of Commerce to be working on their behalf.
In the State of the Community the other day, what did you kind of learn from that, Teresa?
That I think that there are a lot of opportunity here, and I think everyone is almost on the same page, saying different things, but I think that they're all intending the same thing: movement forward. We need to get moving forward. Inactivity, indecisiveness will kill us. The world is changing, and the business landscape and the economy, and everything is in such a jumble and so unsure and unsteady that we have to be sure and steady in our vision. What does Rocky Mount want to be in 10 years? So I always call it the next iteration. And if you show up and you engage and you voice your opinion and your concerns, then you get to have a say in what it's going to look like. If not, then we're going to allow other people to decide what our lives and what our community is going to be. And I don't live that way. I don't live my personal life that way.
Well, and that's a lot of the motivation that we want from you, because a lot of us who've been serving with the Rocky Mount Chamber area chamber for a long time, we're looking for the passion that, and I'm sure that Bill Body and the search committee picked that up on you from you and in talking to you, and I would just really challenge everybody watching. And as this is a weekly show, and Roger Taylor and Associates have committed that they want to share the passion, your passion, the Chamber's passion for investing in the business community and working to build. We're going to take a break in just a minute and talk about your short-term and long-term goals, but the hierarchy too, besides the staff, is there's a chamber board, and each of them has responsibilities, and then you will be working with them, as will Lige Daltrich, who's the current chair, to help them craft their objectives for the year. I think
right now I have 872 bosses.
Oh, good.
So we have 872 active members in the chamber, and that's what I look at. Everyone who's made an investment, whether it's $49, $99, $10,000, they all deserve the same respect. They've all made an investment in this organization.
And so, looking forward, you will be listening and looking and elevating and encouraging everything that you can to keep each and every one of them feeling like their community is getting better and better.
Right. They have to get engaged. They have to speak up. You don't necessarily have to show up to all the social events, but you do have to engage yourself wherever it is, whatever is your concern or your priority area. And it's as simple as an email, or it's as simple as a phone call, or, hey, I want somebody to stop at my business because this is keeping me up at night, or I'm concerned about this.
And you'll respond.
We will.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into short-term and long-term goals, so you won't want to miss this.
We are the past,
present,
and the future leadership of your Chamber of Commerce.
We are business members focusing on new beginnings, boldly creating our Twin Counties future.
members working toward broader thinking, community reinvestment, and public policy supporting strong business.
We are partnerships that create new beginnings.
We are business and community leaders working together for a better tomorrow.
And this is my town.
We're back. Thank you for staying with us. And Teresa Pinto, who is the president of the Rocky Mount Area Chamber of Commerce, is sharing her observations at this point. Now we're going to get into the goals. I want to say how important, and I've been involved with the Chamber, as you all probably know, for quite a long time, but one of the things I really like is the infusion of new enthusiasm, because it really, so many of the people in the community want to be excited. We want Rocky Mount to be all that it can be, and we're so invested in that you're going to help us know how to get there, and you're going to provide leadership. So I'm excited that you're here.
I'll certainly try.
Well, thank you.
Buckle up. It's going to be an interesting ride.
We're buckling up, right? Well, let's start with your short-term goals, Teresa.
Short term, I look at 30, 60, 90 days. 30 days we're already addressing is probably a staff reorganization. I really feel like if you don't have your house in order, we're not going to be able to deliver these programs and services and revamp and re-energize ourselves. This is really a big shift. And it's happening not only here, but it is happening across the country with chambers of commerce addressing how are they going to remain relevant now and 10 years from now. So for us, it requires that we look at our staffing and we reorganize ourselves and we become more efficient and more effective in how we're spending the members' dollars and how we're doing what we need to do day in and day out. So we're already working on that.
Well, and prior to your coming, Morris Wilder did a lot of background work on that. So I think it's important as we business people are having to do the exact same thing. If you're not making changes and trying to get more with what's going on and more efficient, then you might get left out.
Absolutely.
But a lot of that groundwork, I hope that was helpful to you in coming in to see that there had been a lot of energy invested into it.
A lot of the groundwork was laid, and he's working on the foundation pieces of, you know, you look at any organization and it'll be, you know, your finances. Are your finances in order? Do you have staff and the cash flow and all of those pieces? They're here, and it's a good foundation. It's just simply shifting things. So the resources are here. We just have to shift how we're utilizing those resources and the allocation of resources. So we're no different than a lot of small businesses out there. Really, you know, we are a nonprofit for tax reasons, but what we face, the operations and everything that we do, mirrors what our members go through, and it should. That way we know what our members are experiencing. So a lot of internal things. We're already working on changing some smaller programs like business after hours, changing things that we think should really be, are they a member benefit? Should there be a fee attached to that? Should we be doing more in terms of communications and how do we effectively communicate to our members? Should we bring back a newsletter? You know, we don't have a print newsletter, and a lot of people say, well, everything's online now. Well, there's still some value in print media. What's the message that we can make the most effective use of print media? And the reason we're doing the TV show, you know, what's the most effective use of that type of media? So we're going for the low-hanging fruit.
And that's a good way to do it. Will you be bringing a lot of issues such as that to the Chamber Board and asking them to give their input to you?
I think as we move forward on some larger issues, like we're going to be looking at a website redesign, you know, then you go to the board and you go to your officers and you say, this is what we're looking at doing because these are very strategic and very important critical pieces to our future. On the staffing and some of the other operational things, no, simply because they pay me well enough for me to deal with that. They do not need to be knee-deep. They have their own businesses and their own lives to concern themselves with. That's why they pay me. So I think that they just want to be in the loop, and they really need to focus, you know, long-term. I deal with the day-to-day. The board is usually looking 6 months to a year down the road, issues, things that are happening that way, and then our officers are already usually a year, 16, 18 months down the road. They need to be focusing on where we're going to be at that time. So that keeps the discussions relevant and gives us a path where we know we're going to be 1 year, 2 years down the road.
And that's basically the structure of the nonprofits. Hire the head person and then give them the authority to make the changes that need to be made, and
Right.
you report to them, and then the other people report to you. Let's talk about long range. I'm excited. Tell us what are some of the things that we can really anticipate and know that, again, as Theresa said, stay involved. It's our responsibility, and I speak for myself too. If I want something from the chamber, I need to give something to the chamber, or I need to make my needs or interests known. It's my responsibility to come and not just say, what are you going to do for me? I want to do for you. I want to be part of the solution.
Absolutely. It's just an engaging in a discussion, just like we're having. I don't sell chamber membership. I have discussions with people that are concerned about quality of life here or the business community. You know, you don't necessarily have to be a business owner or in business to be a member of the chamber. You can be a retiree. You can be a nonprofit. You can be, you know, an individual person that's concerned with a social movement that happens to be here in this area. You can be a government entity. So I like to have those discussions, and we talk about what is the chamber focusing on? What are your concerns? And at what point do we have those intersections where we can engage in a common goal or a common vision?
And what is our common goal and our common vision?
For the chamber, it's always build a strong business community. Be the best advocate we can for Rocky Mount, and be the strongest voice of business. We have the unique ability to be the only voice of business. That's what a Chamber of Commerce is. So that's what we focus on. If we have a strong business community here, we'll have a better quality of life. Individuals will see more, you know, increase in their economic well-being. They'll have more disposable income. I mean, everybody relates it to what kind of cash do they have in their pocket afterwards. Well, it all goes in a cycle. If I can improve the quality of life, and what do you determine that is? That means I have more cash to spend. If you have more cash to spend, then spend it locally. So now I'm churning it back into the business community.
And we can afford more restaurants, and we can support more local shopping, and we can...
And arts, and your library, and all of those things that make up, that a lot of times we probably take for granted, a good quality of life. Safe, clean streets, well-lit streets, public parks. All of that costs money. And sometimes we don't pay attention, or we're not appreciative enough of what is provided to us. And all of that comes when you have a strong business community.
And also keeping dollars local, as you mentioned, the churning, and I think that's something that a number of people have focused on recently, and we're going to be talking to Roger Taylor about support of small businesses, but I've heard it said that we've got enough money in Rocky Mount if we'll just keep it here and support each other.
Can you think of a service or a product or something that you would not be able to purchase here?
Not much.
I really can't imagine what service that you cannot find in this Twin County area.
I probably don't need it if I can't find it here.
That's right. So, and that's the approach we take, is if you want a better quality of life for yourself, if you want more dollars, you know, to spend when you get your paycheck, after everything's paid out, then you put it back into your own community.
Absolutely. Theresa, it's been wonderful. Thank you. And I know everybody's enjoyed getting to know you better too. And we'll be right there with you. We're part of your team. I hope you know that. We want to remind you that every Monday night at 8:30, you don't want to miss the Chamber Update, weekly update. And it's our chamber, folks, and we need to support it. We need to just really get behind our new president and let her know that we were right there fighting to make our community all that it can be, right along with her. Next week, our guest will be Roger Taylor, who is the head of the Small Business Committee, and also Lige Daltrich, who's the current chairman of our chamber board. You won't want to miss that. See you then.
We are the past,
present,
and the future leadership of your Chamber of Commerce.
We are business members focusing on new beginnings, boldly creating our Twin Counties future.
members working toward broader thinking, community reinvestment, and public policy supporting strong business.
We are partnerships that create new beginnings.
We are business and community leaders working together for a better tomorrow.
And this is my turn.